The voice of sharing, durian ASEAN.
Hi, this is Arlene and you're with Durian ASEAN. And together with me is Mr. Felino Palafox. He's a prominent Filipino architect, urban planner, and of course, environmentalist. He's also the principal architect, urban planner, and founder of Palafox Associates. Of course, with me, he's known as a person who is trying to propel something new, which is architecture activism.
The Durian Heat, bringing big ideas and critical opinions in Southeast Asia.
So anyway, hi.
Hi Arlene, glad to be here.
Yes, and I guess before we start our conversation, tell me more about the Palafox Associates and also about your interest in architecture.
Yes, I started my company Palafox Associates in 1989. After having done work in several countries like Dubai, I practically started my career in Dubai, helping create a garden city out of the desert.
You were 27 at that time.
I was 27 years old. I was named hired by the ruling family of Dubai to help them bring Dubai from the third world into the first world in 15 years, create a garden city out of the desert, design Dubai as if there's no oil, put into practice into Dubai the best practices in the world, and make Dubai a pace-setter city in that region, setting the pace. And one thing I like about it also was we had the opportunity to go around the world with my family to learn best practices elsewhere in the world and bring it back to the conversation table in Dubai. And in fact in Dubai, most of my future clients met me in Dubai, not in the Philippines. And it was a game-changing work that we had.
So Dubai, you have to thank them.
Yes.
But what is the interesting part of architecture? Especially you have been having 40 years of experience in this field, and I don't think, and also 38 years in planning. I don't think we want to stop.
Yeah, it's actually 43 years in architecture and 41 years in planning in 38 countries. I think just the past 25 years.
Is Malaysia one of it?
Yeah, well, Malaysia, I was invited to do some work, but somehow along the way it did not prosper. But I still have invitations to do work here, and I think I'm very fortunate to have been given the opportunity to work in those 38 countries, and I have observed and visited. Learned lessons from more than 2,000 cities in 63 countries, and I bring it to the table. I was also a guest lecturer in 1997 for Harvard and MIT, and before I became a student of Harvard.
Yeah. How is that possible? I'm scratching my head.
Yeah, I got invited to that time, 1997 or 1996. I had on-the-job trainees from MIT, and many students from Harvard were asking about how come I come from a developing country and was able to do work in so many other countries. And in fact, since then, I've given lectures in 18 countries, projects in 38 countries. And I think the practice and theory are blended together if you are in the practice of your profession, and then you lecture also. And a student, I was invited to be in one of the first batch at Harvard. There was a new course after 9/11 on advanced management development program for real estate development. Then I took up also architecture and sustainability. That's green architecture, master planning and sustainability. I have one diploma and several certificates of continuing education, and focus on sustainability and best practices. That's green and sustainable. And also the nice terminologies that what I've been doing about helping the poor and helping reconstruct post-disaster areas. My professors in Harvard and my colleagues, they labeled what I'm doing outside the architectural box, commercial architecture of just doing work for those who can pay, clients who can pay, but I've been helping the poor, post-disaster areas, and crusading for the environment. And we call it architectural activism, or democratic architecture, patriotic architecture, architecture for humanity, and also for architecture of faith, for doing places of worships for the various religions.
Something new that probably unheard of for a lay person like myself. Can you enlighten us what exactly it means?
Like in my country, 28% are very poor. So I help them in design and build their communities. And there are also places of worship that I help, especially again for poor communities, both rich and poor communities. And I do a lot of work also for iconic landmark large-scale developments. But I do a lot of work on, I don't call it pro bono, because for me, I get spiritual and psychological income, helping the poor, fighting for the environment, interfaith dialogue, and help them design and build their places of worship. Like in Bam, Iran, I think 2003, there was a big earthquake, and our work was funded by Chuchi, a Buddhist organization from Taiwan, and for the orphans orphaned by the big earthquake, Muslim children of Iran, and they hired us Christian Catholic architects from the Philippines to design and help them rebuild their schools. And I ended up donating 70% of my architect's fee.
Oh, that's interesting.
And
but why?
I felt...
What's the spiritual
because
content?
When I first saw the children and the principals, the teachers, I saw a facial landscape of despair, their faces of despair. And then, so I donated 70% of my architect's fee to help them rebuild their schools. And I did not even know the Taiwanese, they call their project in Mandarin, because I don't speak Mandarin, Project Hope. So after I showed the students, the principals, the teachers, our architectural perspectives for their school, I saw the face of hope, so from despair to hope. So there was so much psychological, spiritual income that I derived from it. And we did green architecture also for their schools, like the principles of wind towers, which they have forgotten in the Middle East, where you put a tower, collect the wind from above, and cross-ventilate the whole structure. And we're able to reduce, without air conditioning, by 20 degrees in summer, the temperature inside, and 10 degrees in autumn. And somehow, again, it set a new standard of building schools. And some time ago also, 2009, I had a client in the Philippines. We already signed a $1 million architect's fee to design a 6-star hotel. And there were 366 70-year-old trees.
And they want to demolish it.
They want to demolish, cut all the trees.
But what's the value of that tree?
The tree, my estimate is about, I think, $400,000 for a 50-year-old tree.
Wow.
And these are 70-year-old trees. And I returned the contract of $1 million, and then I got threatened, death threats and libel cases. But we were able to save the trees.
Can you share with us what exactly is your principle as an architecture? Because many people, when they embark in professionals, not necessarily architecture, but in any other professional, usually profit would triumph any other aspect of their principle.
Yeah, good question. We had what I call a triple bottom line approach to development. Now it's 5. People first, or social equity. Who will benefit from the project? So I make sure jobs are created, especially for the poor. Then planet Earth, or the environment. Then we can talk about profits or economic goals. If one of those 3 is missing, I don't accept the project. Then number 4, I've added it, culture, history, and heritage. Then number 5, spirituality. Because working through so many disaster areas, we seem to be more prayerful after the disaster, regardless of regardless of religion or faith. And that helped guided me all my professional practice, whether I'm working in the Middle East with Muslims, or in China and Taiwan with Buddhists, in the Philippines with Christian
You
Catholics.
have that interfaith
I had
architecture.
interfaith architecture also. Like the Sultan of Brunei commissioned us to be the architect for the largest mosque in the Philippines. Not even a Muslim. Usually you get a Muslim architect to design a mosque, and we were appointed to do that. And
That's an irony of the
it's not
Sultan appointing you.
no, because for me, I'm very optimistic in the future that one day we are one world, or one nation, or one world under one God. We call them different names: Allah, God, Yahweh, and so on. But it's all the same God, and I've been advocating that, aside from people first, planet Earth, profit, culture, heritage, and spirituality.
You're now listening to Durian ASEAN, the voice of discovery and sharing.